Good afternoon. Today is the 3rd of July. I am at Fishbourne Roman Palace, which is near Chichester in West Sussex. The reason I'm here is, first of all, because it's a great place to visit, and I've not been here for 20 years since I came here with my school when I was studying A-level Latin. But also it's near Goodwood, and for the next few days I'll be attending the Goodwood Festival of Speed with wonderful people from Planet Auto. So expect more slightly shambolic shuffles and other content to be coming up, which I hope you'll all enjoy. It's wonderful to be in the area. I got here early because the Chichester bypass can be terrible, so I'm hoping that won't be too much of a problem over the next couple of days. But the other reason I wanted to take some time to talk today is because one of my viewers from Australia, a gentleman named Paul, has asked me how United Kingdom number plates actually work. And that's definitely something that I can tell you about. So let's get into that now. In 1903, it was decided that in this country we needed a system of number plates to be able to differentiate between different cars that were on the road. The first number plate was assigned in London. It's called A1. It's pretty simple. That was sort of obtained by a gentleman by the name of Earl Russell. And the way that they did it was they just literally had one letter that started it and then a number after it. So, for example, AA19, which is the registration of a Didion Bouton that's in the Bewley National Motor Museum. The way they assigned these numbers, it might seem quite random, but they started with the largest population, which in this case was London, and then went to B, which is Lancashire, or the area for Manchester at the time, and just so on and so on. And when they got to the sort of lesser counties, they started going to AA and AB and etc. right way to things like YY. Hampshire was AA for many, many years. I used to see cars with that combination of letters when I was growing up. And AA19, a local plate to Hampshire, would make perfect sense because that's where Bewley is. But that actually did cause some problems, and in the 1930s they had to come up with some more number plates. One of the examples of a number plate from the 20s that I remember is KK4976, which is a Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost used in the Avengers, in the final season of the Avengers, driven by Patrick Macnee. In 1935, I think it was, these number plates with 2 letters and 4 numbers started to run out, particularly in London. So what they did was they started to introduce 3-letter combinations, but keep the same order. So, for example, in H.G. Wells' Invisible Man, a television series from the late 50s, there is an Austin Healey 3000 press car, but supplied by British Motor Corporation. And the factory that made the Austin Healey, well, there were a couple of them, but they were in the sort of West Midlands area. And that car had a number plate VOK495. V was just a randomly assigned character. It could be anything, with 1 or 2 exceptions. OK was a Birmingham number plate, and you'll see many, many press cars right way through to 2001 that came from the British Motor Corporation, British Leyland, or the Rover Group that have O somewhere number plate. Now, it's not all the O's are Birmingham. For example, OT is a Southampton code, but a lot of the O's you see OA, OB, OX, they are Birmingham codes. So people like me can very much identify what are press cars and what are not in old TV series, because they are generally from that area, and if they're new, chances are that that is a press car if the code actually matches up with the right area. In the 1950s, the code started to run out again, and so what they did was actually put the letters and numbers the other way around. So rather than having VOK495, an example of a Land Rover that's used to be Avengers would be 695 EAC, which is another Coventry plate. That car, I don't know if it was a press car or not. We'll have, I'm not no way of checking, but that appears in 2 episodes of The Avengers. So they also had other sort of examples of that. There's a Triumph Herald in the Avengers with a 61 plate, which is 7061 MK. That was just a normal London registration. MK was one of the ones that was used for London at the time. But in 1963, it all changed. One of the most famous cars in the world is the Aston Martin DB5 used in Goldfinger and Thunderball and many other James Bond films. Now that has registration BMT216A. In this particular case, B is just a randomly assigned character. MT was the local code for the area of Middlesex, and Aston Martin's factory at the time was in Feltham, which is in Middlesex. 216 is a randomly assigned number, and then A stands for 1963, and that went B, C, D until 66, and then they decided that rather than having the plate changed at the beginning of the year in January, they'd have it changed in August. I don't know why they decided to do that, I really don't know, but E was a very short 67 year that only lasted from January to July 67, and then they went to F. So the Vauxhall Victor you see in Randall Hawk at Deceased, driven by Mike Pratt, was a press car from the Vauxhall fleet. Vauxhall was based in Luton, and in 1968, Luton had an XD code. So the car is RXD996F. R is just a randomly assigned character. XD is Luton, although earlier it was used for London codes. So codes did change. It's very confusing, but codes did sometimes change areas. And this one was originally London, it went to Luton, and then it stopped being used after 1974. But 996 is just a random number, and then F says August 67 to July 68, and I think the car was registered something like May 1968. This is all wonderful and everything like that, but again they started to run out of codes, and you can just imagine how that kind of made people feel. They had to go through another system, and they were burning through these letters, and in 1983 they got to Y. They didn't use Z and some of the letters for some reason, so they got there a bit earlier than you might imagine, and from the 1st of August 1983, the letter started to appear at the beginning rather than the end of the number. So rather than something like my parents' old Volkswagen Jetta, that was a 1983 car, registered January 83, which is LRV46Y, L randomly assigned character, RV was for Portsmouth area, 46 was just a random number, and Y was August 82 to July 83. It now went, and this is an example from a car that my parents owned to replace the Jetta. It was G999WBP, which was an old Volvo. G stood for August 89 to July 1990. 999 was literally just what we got assigned on the plate. We didn't have not a personalised plate, although you could obviously get a personalised plate. That was just what came out, that the Volvo garage in Winchester were given. And W was just a randomly assigned character, and BP is the code for Portsmouth. The car was registered in Portsmouth, although we were in Winchester. That's the local office at the time where the plate was issued. Towards the end of this system, it became apparent that the people in the motor industry wanted to stop this big spike in August and not have any other number plate sales, sorry, any other car sales at parts of the year. So they decided to change the registration number actually twice a year. So in around 98, 99, they went from August being the time when the letter at the beginning of the number plate changed, to being March and September. So you see cars on like T and V plates can be dated for a very specific 6-month period. Still in the same format, so T123 ABC or V123 ABC. But they changed in March and in September, not for August, if that makes sense. Obviously, this wasn't particularly a sort of foresighted move in the part of the government, because they started to run out of codes even quicker. And in 2001, they came up with an entirely new system which bore no relation whatsoever to the previous system. So what they decided to do was have the first letter actually be a lot more obviously part of the area where the car actually was registered, rather than just having a random letter of codes that most people didn't really understand what they were. They decided to divide these up a little bit differently. So the first letter, for example, on my car, which was, you've seen a picture of it in the thumbnail, is L, which is London. The second letter is which of the three offices' registrations in London it would have been. There are three. There's one in Boreham Wood, there's one in Wimbledon, and there's one in Sidcup. My car was actually from a dealership in Sidcup, so it's a W. That's the eastern side of London is handled by the office in Sidcup. And then the three final letters, RYK, are randomly assigned. Much like the system was introduced right at the end of the life of the original system, the number plates do change twice a year, and I'll explain how that happens just in 1 second. So the way the plates change twice a year is that they all still change in March and September, but the ones that are sort of 0.5 halfway through the year have a 5 or a 6 at the start. So the number plates which started off in September 2001 when the new system came in were something like AB51 ABC. And A, and in this instance, would stand for Anglia, East Anglia. B would be the specific part of East Anglia the cars from. 51 is September 2001 to February 2002. And then the last three characters are completely random. It's worth pointing out that they didn't allow various combinations, so GOD, SEX, JEW, things like that. You don't see those on plates. Also, Northern Irish plates, which are completely different. They still have a similar system to the one introduced in 1903, but you see things like, you know, I's and Z's and things like that in there. They didn't go for the new system in 2001 because they have not got through their allocation yet. So Northern Irish cars still look the same in terms of the plates as cars did up until 1963. They never went for suffix letters or the prefix letters like we did. So you might see a car saying LJI1234, and that's a perfectly normal combination in Northern Ireland that persists until this day. Clearly, there are also personalised number plates which have their own rules and exceptions to what I've said, but I won't go into that now because this video is long enough already. So I hope you found that to be informative. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, especially if you want to see the Goodwood Festival speed content that will be coming up over the next few days. Please don't forget to like this video. Please don't forget to leave a comment below. And they've also got a website which is www.lloydvehicleconsulting.co.uk. If you wish me to source a car for you, it doesn't have to be on a particular plate, it can be any age, then please get in touch via the site. There is a contact tab on the front page of the website that will get you in touch with me directly. This is a little form that I use. Also, I've got a Facebook page, it's facebook.com/Lloyd Vehicle Consulting. Thank you ever so much indeed for watching.